From unexplained deaths to mysterious disappearances, here are 8 true stories that defy explanation. We begin in Adelaide, 1948, with a body, a secret code, and a mystery that remains unsolved. A pristine beach on a mild summer morning. The kind of day that promises nothing but tranquility and possibility. Yet on this seemingly ordinary December 1st, 1948, a discovery would unfold that would become one of the most perplexing mysteries in forensic history. A well-dressed man was found dead on Somerton Beach. Not a mark on him. No signs of struggle. Just a perfect gentleman, impeccably attired, seemingly untouched, yet absolutely lifeless. No identification. No clear cause of death. A phantom who had materialized and then vanished in the same breath. In his pocket, a cryptic note was discovered. Torn from a rare edition of Omar Khayyam's Rubaiyat, it read, "Tamam shud," a Persian phrase meaning ended or finished. The paper itself was from an extremely rare book, a detail that would transform this from a simple, unexplained death to a potential international intrigue. Forensic analysis revealed nothing. Poison was suspected, but no trace could be found. The man's dental work suggested European origin. His clothes were tailored with exceptional skill. Yet no one, not a single person, would come forward to identify him. Decades of investigation would follow. Coded messages, potential espionage connections, a mysterious woman who seemed to know something, but would never fully reveal the truth. Speaking of unexplained disappearances, let's journey from the sun-baked beaches of Australia to the stark, storm-beaten coast of Scotland. The Flannan Isles sit like forgotten sentinels off the western coast of Scotland. A collection of rocky, windswept islands that have witnessed centuries of maritime tragedy. The lighthouse on Island Moor was more than just a beacon. It was a lifeline for sailors navigating the treacherous North Atlantic. James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur were seasoned lighthouse keepers. Men who understood the brutal language of the sea, who knew how to survive in conditions that would break lesser men. Their job was to maintain the lighthouse, to ensure its critical beacon never wavered. On December 15, 1900, a relief vessel arrived to find the lighthouse completely, impossibly abandoned. No signs of struggle. No indication of what might have happened. Meals half-eaten. Chairs overturned. A set of oilskin coats left behind. An unthinkable oversight for men who knew the deadly nature of the North Atlantic. Official reports suggested they might have been swept away by a massive wave while attempting to secure equipment during a storm. But the log entries told a different story, of men who were calm, methodical, entirely in control right up until the moment they vanished. The mysterious vanishing of lighthouse keepers in 1900 would find a haunting echo over a century later in a modern hotel in Los Angeles. The Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles was not merely a building. It was a repository of urban darkness, a structure that seemed to collect human misery like other buildings collected dust. Since its construction in the 1920s, it had been a nexus of crime, suicide, and unexplained disappearances. Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old Canadian student, vibrant and adventurous, traveling solo through the United States. Her disappearance would transform the Cecil Hotel from a mere location into a global phenomenon of mystery. Elevator surveillance footage would become the centerpiece of countless internet investigations. Lam's movements were bizarre, defying explanation. She pressed multiple elevator buttons frantically. She appeared to hide, to peek out, to talk to someone, or something completely unseen. Her actions suggested pure, unfiltered terror. When her body was discovered in the hotel's water tank weeks later, more questions emerged than answers. How did she access the roof? How did she climb into a sealed water tank? Why were her movements so strange? The autopsy revealed no drugs, no signs of trauma. Just a young woman who seemed to have simply disappeared into the hotel's dark history. While the Cecil Hotel held its secrets close, another bizarre case would unfold in the hills of Brazil. Rio de Janeiro is a city of dramatic contrasts, brilliant sunlight and deep shadows, luxurious wealth and profound poverty. Vintem Hill, overlooking the city, was a liminal space where these contrasts seemed to blur into something entirely unknown. Manuel Pereira de Cruz and Miguel Jose Viana were electronics technicians, ordinary men, living ordinary lives, until the day they weren't. On an August afternoon in 1966, they were found dead on Vintem Hill, wearing suits, lead eye masks, and waterproof coats. A notebook discovered with their bodies contained a message that would launch 1,000 theories. 1630, be at the specified location. 1830, swallow capsules. After effect, protect metals, wait for mask signal. No signs of violence, no clear cause of death. Just two men, dressed as if for some arcane ritual, dead under circumstances that defied logical explanation. Theories would range from alien encounters to elaborate suicide pacts. But the truth remained as hidden as the men beneath their mysterious lead masks. From mysterious deaths on land, we now drift to perhaps the most famous maritime mystery of all time. The Atlantic Ocean in winter is an entity of unstoppable force, where waves rise like liquid mountains and winds howl with ancient fury. On December 5th, 1872, the merchant ship Dei Gratia encountered a vessel that would become legend, the Mary Celeste, drifting aimlessly through these treacherous waters. The ship was in perfect sailing condition. The cargo of industrial alcohol was untouched. 6 months' worth of food and water lay in the stores. Personal belongings remained perfectly arranged in cabins. Yet the entire crew, 10 souls including Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, and their 2-year-old daughter, had vanished without a trace. The last log entry, dated 10 days earlier, showed nothing unusual. A rope hung off the ship's side, suggesting a hasty departure. But why would an experienced captain and crew abandon a perfectly seaworthy vessel? What force could compel them to leave behind all their possessions, their livelihoods, their very lives? While the Mary Celeste's crew vanished without a trace, our next case left behind a trail of deliberate breadcrumbs, each more baffling than the last. In Northern California, terror didn't just stalk the streets. It wrote letters to the newspapers. The Zodiac Killer's correspondence wasn't merely a taunt to law enforcement. It was a complex puzzle that would baffle cryptographers for decades. His most infamous cipher, the 340-character message, remained unsolved for 51 years. When finally cracked in 2020, it revealed a mind of methodical madness, constructing layers of meaning and misdirection with mathematical precision. The killer's true identity remained hidden behind these carefully constructed walls of symbols and codes. Each solved cipher only revealed more questions, more mysteries, more glimpses into an abyss of calculated malevolence that seemed to delight in its own opacity. While the Zodiac ciphers remain only partially solved, another mystery would unfold in the skies above Australia, one that would leave us with nothing but a pilot's final, terrified transmission. The Bass Strait between mainland Australia and Tasmania was calm under a darkening sky. Frederick Valentich, a 20-year-old pilot, was making a routine training flight in his Cessna 182L when he reported something impossible to air traffic control. "It's not an aircraft," his voice crackled over the radio. He described a large unknown object with 4 bright lights that orbited his small plane. For several minutes, he detailed its impossible movements, its metallic surface, its inexplicable behavior. His last transmission contained only metallic scraping sounds. Neither Valentich nor his aircraft were ever found, leaving behind only a mystery that would haunt Australian aviation history. From unexplained phenomena in the air, we turn to something equally bizarre that fell from it. In our final case, a small town in Washington state would experience a rain like no other, leaving us with perhaps the most scientifically perplexing mystery of them all. The small town of Oakville, Washington, experienced something that defied scientific explanation. During a morning rainstorm, instead of water, gelatinous blobs fell from the sky. Transparent, soft masses about half the size of rice grains. Within hours, dozens of residents fell violently ill. Symptoms included severe nausea, breathing difficulties, and a flu-like bacterial infection. When scientists analyzed the blobs, they found something chilling. They contained human white blood cells, but no nuclei. The phenomenon occurred 6 times over 3 weeks. Military aircraft were reported in the area before each incident, but no explanation was ever provided. The blobs themselves deteriorated before comprehensive analysis could be completed, leaving behind only questions and lingering illness. 8 tales of the unexplained, lingering like shadows in the night. Darkness holds countless others, each one unanswered. Night falls with its secrets. Just don't let them creep into your sleep.